Welcome back to Ask an Autistic. My name is Jessica Leichtweisz. I'm the CEO of Hope Education Services. Every week, I invite a panel of autistic adults to answer parents' questions so you can understand autism better from the people who understand it the most. Tonight, we're going to talk about tips for parents during Halloween, especially during this strange time. Every one of the adults present on the panel, they all have autism. They're all going to share their best tips for you as a parent to navigate Halloween during this crazy time. So Michelle, what is your best tip for parents on how to navigate Halloween for kids this fall?
So for this fall, I actually did a blog story about this on my blog last year about all the tricks and stuff and tips, but the main thing is to not show fear, because you have to be the role model. You have to, what the child sees from you, they need to make sure that what you model, they should model that too. So just to not show like any fear, because the child's going to copy that, and just to still like just enjoy everything and like get creative with whatever you got, like if any sensory toys, like in any way that you want to bring out, and like comfortable costumes like that you could dress up at home too, just to spend time with family during any holiday.
Yeah, it's a great point, Michelle. And this goes not only for Halloween, but all the time. If you are afraid that your kids are going to act up, your kids are going to pick on that and pick that up, and they're going to wind up acting up. So it's always better to try to remain calm, which is easier said than done. But great advice. Thank you. Jeff, what is your best tip for parents that are experiencing Halloween, especially with all the unusualness of 2020?
Well, I think personally, from a safety perspective, I would probably limit the areas you want to trick or treat in, particularly focus on neighborhoods that you're most comfortable with. And also, try not to stay out too late, because I would probably say, knowing from firsthand experience, probably between the hours of 6 and 8 o'clock are the best times to do the trick-or-treating. It's the safe time. It's safe. It's manageable, and little kids don't like to be up late. So those between the hours of 6 and 8 o'clock are the best times to do trick-or-treating.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you, Jeff. Monica, what is your best tip for Halloween this year?
I'm going to say my best tip is to make sure that the trick-or-treating is about your child. So the costume is something that they're comfortable in, that they're excited for, that the experience is something that they're interested in. Don't take your kid trick-or-treating because you think it's a rite of passage or it's something that is expected to do in culture. And don't take them trick-or-treating in places they don't want to go. They decide, I don't like that house. Okay, go to the next house. The whole point of it is that it's supposed to be fun. So make sure that you can separate your expectations of what a fun childhood looks like and just let your kid kind of do their thing. Follow their cues, be done when they're done. And yeah, respect their personal ideas of what's fun.
Yeah, Monica, you make a really great point. Like, a lot of parents ask me, how do I get my child to wear a Halloween costume, because they insist they don't want to wear a Halloween costume. Your child has to wear underwear. They do not have to wear a Halloween costume or whatever.
They don't have to wear underwear.
Whatever. You have to wear clothes. By your face. You have to wear clothes. You don't have to wear a Halloween costume. If your child doesn't want to wear a Halloween costume, they don't have to. You don't need to spend 2 weeks with your ABA therapist desensitizing them to the Halloween costume. Just don't wear it. Yeah. So Andrew, what is your best advice for parents that are taking their kids trick-or-treating this year?
Well, my own experience with Halloween growing up was it wasn't always easy or comfortable to rehearse the social rituals of going to Halloween. And those aren't just the ideas of knocking on someone's door, saying trick or treat, getting the candy, saying thank you, and leaving. It's all important to be able to do that but also some general safety rules, like never going inside the house, even if someone invites you in. This may be something that you can practice even before you actually go trick-or-treating. If you have a neighbor that you know very well that's willing to practice the skills that are involved in going Halloween trick-or-treating with your child, then that is absolutely wonderful. This gets them learning in a natural environment, gets them to understand the things that are required, but ultimately, yes, the student, your child definitely is doing something together with the other kids, and at least have them understand the general rules of how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. And we do recommend practicing, and I know Monica put in the chat, using a social story. Social stories are a great idea. I actually have one on my website. If you go and just kind of use the blog and search for Halloween, it was posted last year, but you'll find the social story for Halloween. You can download for free. But yeah, it's great to prepare kids, especially if they want to do it. If a child's expressing an interest in wanting to participate and they need support on how, then that's a really good idea, for sure, to prepare them in advance. Jesse, what is your best advice for Halloween trick-or-treating this year?
My best advice is to let the child know that when someone holds out a big bag of candy, that does not mean to take handfuls at a time. That just means to take one, or ask at the most, how much can I take, and so forth, because there are rules that are unwritten, and when a person says help yourself, take as much as you want, that does not actually mean help yourself, take as much as you want. And a child may think of that as a literal suggestion. Take 15 if you want, and you can explain that it's important to save candy for everybody else. And furthermore, I want to let you know that I live in a state where they take COVID-19 extremely seriously. Therefore, some parents may be treated like social pariahs when they take their kids trick-or-treating. Therefore, if you do live in a county where Halloween is banned for everyone's safety, then you can say to the child, what do I have to do to make this up to you? I know it's not fair, and understand for that child it is the end of the world. So you can try to double your efforts to compensate and say, we have no trick-or-treaters this year. That means the candy we bought for the people who won't come, it'll be ours. It'll be all ours. And
that is a good point, yeah. Every week get all that extra candy.
This is amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, good job. That was funny. All right, Kevin, very good. What is your best advice this year for parents who are trick-or-treating?
Well, and I think everyone here really says great things, brings up great points, addressing like things that are issues to both autism and 2020 and COVID, you know. And as far as 2020 and COVID goes, I actually do think trick-or-treating is like one of the safer things that can be done, you know, because, you know, it's like it can be done in small, if you're doing it in a small group, it's something that you can probably do while socially distancing. And if you're doing it right, you're dressing up, you know, all the kids are dressing up, you know, in costumes, and therefore wearing masks. And generally when you're in small groups and wearing a mask, and especially like it's an outdoor, and you're also doing it outdoors, it's an outdoor event. So like when you're trick-or-treating, you're outdoors. So therefore, you know, that you're meeting really all the criteria for COVID safety. It's a small group, everyone's wearing a mask, and you're outside, you know, those three things together really make for, you know, really complete safe, really make for as much, not complete, but as much safety as possible from anyone infecting each other with COVID. And you know, as far as general with autism goes, I mean, assuming your child is into Halloween and loves to go trick-or-treating, then I think you should try to make it work, you know, to do it in 2020. And if your child is someone who really isn't that into Halloween and isn't that into, you know, trick-or-treating, then you shouldn't force it on them. I'd say, you know, and if they have sensory issues about wearing a costume, then you definitely should not force that on them either. So it really is like, I say what I say about, you know, trick-or-treating and COVID, assuming your child is into Halloween, you should try to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing I think that all parents want their children to be able to experience and enjoy the things that other children do. But if they do not enjoy it, it's not something you should force on them. So that's really important advice to take into consideration. I appreciate everyone's perspective. I really hope that as a parent, if you're watching this video, that you found it helpful and that you have a safe, happy, and healthy Halloween.